If you notice, these were the last two, new credit and credit mix. They're both worth 10% of your credit score. So it actually doesn't matter what order the last two go in. So that's kind of one. And if that happens, I'll point it out and be like, these two groups are right. But what do they have different? Oh, the last two, why do you think they're both right? And I'll go, oh, because they're worth the same. So it's kind of a fun opportunity. And then I talk about what these things mean and how important they are. And I think I have some notes on there too. So payment history is the biggest one, right? Paying on time. And I always tell them that like a single late payment can drop your score 100 points, and it stays on your credit report for 7 years. Yeah, right? Like, and they're all dumbfounded. And then I also say, oh, wait, I'm gonna go back really quick, sorry. The other big thing about payment history is a lot of the kids think it's obvious to pay on time, and they don't understand why anybody would ever not pay on time. So I just like to throw out there that like a lot of good people that are perfect with their budgets may have some sort of crazy emergency, they broke their leg, they go to the emergency room, and they can't afford that bill. Because like, it happens to a ton of people. And I always tell them that if that happens, call whoever you owe money to. So if it's the hospital, call the hospital. You can usually get on a payment plan, and then you don't have to have a late payment. So instead of ignoring it and hiding it somewhere, just call. If you owe them money and you're offering to give them some versus none, they'll usually take you up on it. So I always make that point. Amount owed is just percent of your debt available to you. So if I have a $1,000 credit card and I put $300 on it, I've used 30% of my limit. You really don't want to go above 30% of your limit. And then length of credit history, you know what that is, how long it is. New credit, I always tell them the worst thing you could do is go shopping at the mall and open a store credit card at every single store you go to. I tell them about 1 every 6 months. And all of those tips are on the last slide too. So, and then types of credit. Then I talk about credit reports. This is what generates your credit score. And I tell them the types of things that are on there, which are all on there. Then on the next slide.
What is it? Trade line?
Trade line, that's an account that's open. So a trade line, if I have like a credit card, that's considered a trade line.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. This is an interesting slide, so I always tell them credit reports are pretty boring. Like, just nobody's like stoked on their credit report. But I always tell them to check it at least annually because it's a great way to detect identity theft. So I always tell them like, look, if you're going through your credit card, take 5 minutes, just look through it. You see them like, oh man, US Bank credit card, I don't have one of those. That's when you need to call, and you're hopefully catching that identity theft early. And then I tell them where to get it, which is annualcreditreport.com.
Isn't there a, it's not commercial, is annualcreditreport.com free?
Yes,
Okay.
it's totally free.
There's a bunch of free ones.
Yeah.
But some of them are like working much harder to try to sell you things while they just
Yeah.
have free credit reports, right?
That was like Wells Fargo or something, so like you just get your credit report.
So this is how I end kind of the talk about general credit. So I give them lots of tips, right? So if you want to have a good credit score, here's what you do. It's all written on the slide, so that should be pretty easy to just go through really quick. The second bullet point, I always tell them credit cards are optional. There's other ways to build your credit. That's just one quicker way to build it, but I always tell them if you're a spender, don't do it. Or if you don't trust yourself with money yet, don't do it. Like, just don't get a credit card. Okay, the next one is a bunch more tips. We can just click through there. What does not affect your credit score? So this one's also very quick. I just kind of click through all those things. Do not affect your credit score. And then I get into credit cards. So this is where I start talking about how scary these are. So I talk about what an APR is, right? Your interest rate. I always give them examples of terrible credit cards that I got when I was 18. Where it says may have different APRs, that's talking about like if you swipe your card at a store, that may be 20% interest. If you pull money off your card, it might be a different APR, like 35% interest. So if they're planning on using their card in different ways, they need to check that. And then the last little point, they do not understand at all, which shocked me the first time I taught this class. They have no understanding of the fact that if you use your credit card first 30 days for that purchase, if you pay it in full by your bill, you don't get charged interest on that part of your purchase. So that was really hard for them to understand and I was terrible at explaining it at first, but they like just don't understand that at all. So when I talk about credit cards, they think interest is charged the second you put it on your card. And so they're like, why would you ever use them? And they just have no idea. So that one I usually take a little bit of while, and I give an example, like, okay, so let's say that I bought a $30 tank of gas and I paid off, I paid no interest. Now let's say I put $100 on my card and I only paid the minimum payment of $25. That means that other $75 that I didn't pay, that's all getting charged interest. So I usually go into quite a bit of detail on that one, just because I just like didn't even think about that. That one's hard for them. So the next one, I talk about how minimum payments don't pay much of your principal and how that's a trap, because then they can charge you interest on the rest. And then annual fees, I tell them to just avoid them. So if a card has an annual fee, you just don't get it. Now here's my scary example for them. So I always tell them, okay, let's say you're just starting college, you put your new furniture and some new clothes and your books on a credit card. Boom, you're at $5,000. You have an interest rate of 21%, and then you make your minimum payments of $100. If you click through the bullets, and I think it's 2 clicks on everyone because I made them blue. So it'll take them 10 years and they'll pay $7,000 in interest. So this is where I try to spook them a little bit. Like, look, you're paying $12,000 for the privilege of borrowing $5. And think of what you could do with $7,000. You know? So that's kind of an interesting one. If I have a lot of questions, it's usually where I have to stop. I usually don't get to the last two. If it's a fairly quiet class, then I might be able to get to these two.
I'm not sure if I can answer.
What?
I'm not sure if I can answer all the questions.
Yeah, so I have lots of slide notes on them. But I think, I don't know, I would say it's probably okay to be like, look, I don't know, and look at, or we could look it up together, or, you know, something like that. Like, what, is there anything specific that you'd like me to cover while I'm here?
Just thinking about it.
And I think that's okay. Like, I tell them stories about how I use my credit card, and I tell them stories about how I have used my credit card, even if I'm not 100% sure I'm doing it perfect now. Like, I tell them about the stuff I know I was terrible at before. So that's something that I always do. Like, oh yeah, when I got my first credit card, I maxed it out. It took me 6 years to pay it off. So I think, I don't know, for me, I connect with the students on not knowing sometimes too. Like, oh, I don't know. This is, I know you don't do this, right? So anyway, and I finish with this. I talk about how you can build your credit through getting a loan of some sort. I talk about the different kinds. I'm sure you guys are totally familiar with the first two. The last one, that secured loan, that just, you can get like a secured credit card that is backed up by the money in your savings. So it's virtually no risk to the bank or credit union. So those are a good place to start for a lot of kids, especially if they're not sure about their spending patterns yet. So you, like, that credit card will work up to $500, and then if you mess up and don't pay, they just take your $500 out of savings. So it has to be backed up by that amount in your savings. So I always tell them that's a really nice, safe option to start. And then I end with this one. So we talk about good debt versus bad debt. Usually I ask the kids, okay, so, you know, some debt is considered good, even though I always say, like, no debt is better, but if you have to have debt, there's some good debt and some bad debt. And I have them talk in pairs about what they think the good debt makes the good debt good and what they think makes the bad debt bad. And it's really interesting what they come up with. They come up with super creative things. Some I've heard, like, the good debt's for your future, the bad debt's for your past. And I say, ooh, I like that. And then I heard good debt is investment, which is usually how I classify it. Bad debt is losing value over time.
Yeah, I remember Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's what he said, like,
Yeah.
Rich Dad puts money in your pocket and bad dad takes it away.
Yeah, yeah. And they always fight me on the vehicle. They're like, what is car bad debt? And I'm like, okay, let's think about it. Like, what happens to your car value over time? It goes down. And then I had one kid in a class go, well, my family has a landscaping business, and we have this truck that we bought, and we couldn't do our business without our truck. And I said, you just moved it from bad debt to good debt, because you're using it to make money, right? If I'm just driving around with my friends in my car, it is a bad debt. But if I'm using it to make money, it could be a good debt. The car itself is not gaining value, but if you're making money because of your car, yeah.
What is consumer debt?
So consumer debt, that's anything like, that's kind of to cover all the, like, pawn shops. If you have a debt with a pawn shop, any sort of thing where you owe people money and you don't have anything securing it. So credit cards would fall in there.
We do put something on
Personal loans would fall under consumer debt. Anything where you're borrowing money, credit card, yeah. Payday loans, they're actually all over the place here, especially up in Medford and Central Point when I teach up there. So payday lenders, they are short-term loans. So let's say that I'm waiting to get my paycheck and I'm running out of money, but I only need to borrow the money for 2 weeks. I can go to a payday lender, and when my check comes, they have first claim to it, and then they give me the rest.
Just like within a month.
Yeah. The thing about payday lenders is they can charge like 700% APR. Now, granted, that's over the course of the year, so if you didn't pay it for a whole year, but they're absolutely predatory. So you might pay, 40% interest in 2 weeks, right? Which is insane, because that's like way higher than an annual fee for a credit card. So they will lend to the people that usually cannot get credit cards or get a loan from the bank. So they're like, they prey on the low income. So high schoolers with no credit, they might fall for that. So I like to point out that they're kind of nasty. And then again, I end with the thoughts and needs if you want to. So stay tuned. Yeah? Okay.
Do high schoolers get credit card easily, or do we just get a card, what's the name?
Debit card?
No, their credit card, but it's on their parents' card.
Cosigner? They have a
Yeah.
cosigner? So that's the easiest way for a high schooler to get a credit card. There are credit cards available, so like their student branch here, they can do a credit card. But you've got to have a year of work history, but it's for ages 15 to 17, and it's a $500. So it's pretty low.
How would you get someone who worked at the school credit union to
Yeah.
be part of the presentation?
That'd be awesome. I could talk to her and see if we can do that.
Yeah, because I don't think I'm the first person to talk about credit card.
Yeah.
We could always switch for a period too. if we needed.
And I will come to, I could totally come in for a couple of periods too. Like, I can't teach all of the classes, which is why we decided to do this training format, but like a couple of them. So if you're really uncomfortable, I'm happy to come in for class too, okay? The last one, so I kind of tell them, okay, budgets, we're giving you the foundation. Credit, we're telling you that it's important, but it's also maybe something you want to avoid in terms of credit cards. And then planning for the future, this is where we end usually, and this is protecting yourself now so that you don't lose money in the future. So, planning ahead. This one also does not have a pre-assessment. This one does have a post-assessment though. So we talk about those 3 main things. Normally I add insurance into this presentation, but I think since we have the shorter periods, it would just take too much time. So I'm more than happy, actually, if we think insurance is more important than identity theft, we could switch those if we want, Jesse. But the identity theft's pretty, the kids get into that one, so I usually leave that one in.
Probably don't want to know about it.
They may want to.
They already know how to bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
usually they'll know quite a bit.
You're not.
I shock them though with some of them. Yeah.
Yeah, they
So-
probably know about it on the internet, but not
Right,
necessarily.
the social media.
in the sense of money.
And
So-
they do it to each other all the time.
Just keep it and see how it goes.
Yeah, I also have insurance slides and a car insurance activity where they're looking at somebody's statement, so we could totally switch those out pretty easily if you want. This one's got a more interactive activity, which I like, but, and the kids get really into this section. So I actually start this one out with the activity. So discuss any scams you've heard. So what I do is I tell them to get into groups of 2 or 3, sometimes it's more if I have a really big class. And before I start the class, I'll put posters around the room, like the one right there. I try to think of different categories of identity theft. So my 3 big ones are in-person, online, and phone. Now, if I have a huge class, I might break it down into email, online, not email, phone, texting, so I can break it down more if I have a really big class. Or I might just do 2 of each poster, like 2 in-person posters, 2 phone posters, 2. But with smaller classes, it's usually okay to just have the 3 posters. So what they would do is they would get in their little groups of 2 or 3, and they'll go over to their poster, and they work with their group of 2 or 3 to talk about what in-person scams have they heard of. And I always encourage them to share stories if they're comfortable. So, oh, I know somebody that fell for this, or I know this happened to somebody. And I usually give them 2 or 3 minutes at the poster, and then have them switch to the next one. Okay, I do it with Post-its, because then if I teach multiple classes, I can just pull the Post-it off and like start fresh instead of having to use new paper every time. So I like that method. You guys are welcome to do whatever you want again. There's also, I found a website called Padlet where you can do this virtually and they're on their phone and they can put their comments in on their phone.
We won't get to that.
Yeah. So it's like, once you get the phones out, it kind of tends to go crazy.
The
So
students have a lot.
I have them go through every single poster and then I kind of walk around to the posters and talk